Hey, second graders, let's take a look at what's new heading into week 3 of our virtual learning adventure. You're going to notice that there's two different pacing guides this week. One says pacing and one says week at a glance. The pacing is actually set you up for like a day-to-day suggested pace. So if you were kind of like what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, here's some suggestions of what you could be doing Monday. And you'll notice that Smarty Ants has been added in this week. You'll also notice that the math has changed a little bit to show you that you're not doing an entire problem set. You're only going to be doing certain problems within the problem set. So make sure if you like doing the day-to-day assignments, this is doing the suggested pacing. It's just a suggestion. By all means, you could do it however you wanted to. Now, the week at a glance, let me reset here. The week at a glance document shows you by subject. So you can look and see for ELA what you're going to be doing this week. You've got a lesson, and it even suggests that that one lesson that you're going to be doing, you're going to do that over 2 days. And then Smarty Ants. And then you got your math all together. You've got science and social studies, and then your art, music, and PE. So however you prefer to look at it, if you would like to get all of one subject done in one day, if you want to do a bunch of subjects in one day, there's just some options of suggested pacing for you. So that's something that's new this week for week 3. And I'm going to scroll down to all this good information. Maybe you figured out already that if you click next to week 1, because we're done with that, if you click that arrow, it shrinks week 1 and shrinks week 2. That way you don't have to scroll through it all. So I'm ready for week 3. So when I scroll down to week 3, here's all the assignments. Let's start with science. So when I click on science, I'm going to teach you a little trick if you haven't figured it out yet. If you click over here where it says My Progress, you can see how many pages of activities that you're going to be doing. Phew, it's only 5. So make sure, second graders, that you're reading the entire page before you click the green arrow. That's to get you through all 5 of those pages. And if there's any activities or slides like this one, make sure that you're navigating and reading all of that text. If you can't read it by yourself or don't have a grown-up to read it to you, if you're on a laptop, you can use these tools here. And if you highlight the text and push play,
sorting rocks by size,
the computer will read it to you. If you're on an iPad, you need to make sure that you're using the My Student Canvas app in order to have these tools appear. Okay, and again, you're making sure that you do all the activities. Now, if this box should show up and be gray, and you're like, where is this activity? It's just a gray box. You're going to go up here and click this circular arrow button. And that's your refresh page, and that'll refresh the page, and hopefully that gray box will look like turn back to like mine. And we're going to keep going through this activity. Here's my review because I'm getting towards the end. You see, there's my gray box. Let me hit that refresh button and see if it'll refresh my page. Now it will start me all the way back at the beginning, and I was actually on page 4, so I can skip all the way there. Here's my lesson summary. Oh, it didn't show up. So unfortunately, oh, nope, there it goes. See, sometimes you just have to be patient. Okay, I'm going to do this activity. And then I'm going to skip on to the next page, which is my assignment. Now, it's a good idea, second graders, to check out the rubric because the rubric says what you need to know for this assignment. That you can recognize that rocks come in many sizes, check, because we did that in the activity, and that you can sort rocks by size. So that's the important part. You're going to show your teacher that you can sort rocks by size. That's really important in thinking about, do I need to print out this worksheet? Okay, so we're sorting rocks, large rocks, small rocks, right? And the directions say to cut these out and sort them, and then you have some writing. So you could cut them out and sort them if you have printer and paper, or you could take a picture of just this page and label these large and small, or you can type in the text box and say that number 1 rock is large or small, number 2 rock is large or small. There's lots of different options for you. So since this is the last page and this is your submit page, you're not going to click this green arrow because that'll take you on to the next lesson. You're going to click the next button, and that's going to take you to your activity page where you're going to submit your assignment. And it gives you your options. If you took a picture, you do the file upload. If you're just going to type and tell your teacher, you just type it here. Okay? Or if it's a media, maybe you're you know how to screencast like I'm doing now, or you just want to make a video showing your teacher that you know the difference of sizes if they're of rocks. Maybe you actually found rocks and show them this is a large rock, this is a small rock. Remember, the point is that you can show your teacher that you can know that rocks come in different sizes. Okay, so let's take a look at the next activity. Okay, the next science activity is all about different rocks and different looks. And remember again, that you're going to check my progress to see how many pages that you're going to. And I'm just going to skip to the last page. You're not going to do that. You're actually going to do all the activities because I want to show you, again, this one has a rubric. And what the point of it is that you can sort rocks by shape. Okay, so we're going to sort rocks by shape. And again, this activity is 3 pages long, but the point is that you can sort rocks by shape. So yes, you could print them out and sort these rocks by round rocks and jagged rocks, or you could screenshot and take a picture and label these rocks jagged rocks and round rocks, or maybe you have actual rocks that you can show your teacher which ones are round and which ones are jagged. And I took us all the way back to home again. That's the long way to do it. You can just click modules and it'll take you back. So that's science for this week. Math this week, you have 5 lessons to do in math, and it's all about measuring. Hey, let me tell you some tricks about math. First of all, if you go into your math lesson, this first page is just like a cover page. If you've noticed, there's nothing really to that. You push next, and you come to your learning goal for the day, your lesson objective, and the materials that you're going to need. And then there should be a video that looks like this. However, if you get a message that looks like this, try just pushing this link here that says sign in, and it should jump automatically to this video. If it doesn't, email your teacher and they'll email Miss Harris or Miss Greco, and we can troubleshoot for you. Okay, you're going to watch this lesson. Now, for all 5 of these math lessons, you're going to be doing measurement, and you're going to need a lot of materials. So here's a list of materials that you're going to need for the entire week. You're going to need a dry erase board to practice. Now, if you don't have one of those, you could use a notebook or paper. You're going to need a 1-inch tile. Not many people have those laying around their house. But you could use a Lego block because it's about the size of an inch, or a quarter because that's about the size of an inch. You're going to be using those to measure. You also need a 12-inch strip of paper. Yes, a strip of paper because you're going to be making your own ruler with that strip of paper. Some optional materials that you might have laying around the house are a paper clip and an index card. If you don't have those, not to worry. The video will use those for you. And then if you have a yardstick, that's an extra bonus. If you don't, you can just use this 12-inch strip of paper 3 times, or a ruler, 3 rulers, because that's about the same size as a yardstick. But make sure you have these materials ready for almost every single one of those 5 lessons in math. I will tell you too that your problem sets in math are a lot of worksheets. So when you're going, after you watch your video and you click on next, many of the worksheets on the problem set, once you download them and click on them, you'll see they come up like this. But most of the worksheets are very easy to write down just on a piece of paper and take a picture of it, or type in the text box. You will notice that there's a lot of objects that they ask for that you may not have at your house. The important thing is you're showing your teacher you know how to measure. And Miss Walker, who does all the math videos, does a really good job of giving you alternatives of things that you can find around the house to measure. So that's it for math. I'm going to go back to the beginning and let's check out what we're going to be doing. Again, I did it the long way. Let's check out what we're going to be doing in ELA. Okay, there's lots and lots of things to do in ELA. Lots of writing. We're working on that piece that you started the last couple of weeks. Again, remember you're checking my progress. Woo! You have 12 slides to do. Make sure you're doing all the activities that are on here. See, this has 6 different things to do. Make sure you're sliding through all 6 of those and that you're doing these activities. Okay? So we're going to click all the way through. There are some things that you don't need to print out that you can just do on your own. There are some fun places this week where you're going to be recording yourself and practicing your fluency and listening to yourself read poetry. I'm just scanning through here so I can show you some of the activities. Look at all these things that you're going to be doing. That's a nice break for mom and dad, so you can play around with those activities. So here's an example of something where you can print the copy of The Wandering Wind. That isn't actually necessary to print that. You can just use it on the screen. It's just for practice reading, excuse me. And then if you want to practice putting boxes around the rhymes and circling the second rhyme, the thing with this is, as long as you're talking about it with mom or dad or thinking about it on your own, you don't need to print it out because you're not going to be submitting that activity. You're going to head into Writing Workshop and learn about commas to help you write your letter. Here's another activity here with commas again. So again, this is something you could print out. You could just look at it at the screen and point to it. Where do I need a comma? Here, I need one here and here. Okay? And telling a grown-up. You don't need to print this out because you won't be submitting it. And then you're getting ready for your letter. So this week you're going to be revising your letter and you're going to be editing it and making a final copy to turn into your teacher. So here's where you're editing. And I'm going to keep it going. Let's see where we are in our progress here. Oh, let's skip all the way to the end. So what's your assignment? Okay. Oh, this one actually is your quiz because this is at the beginning of the week. So remember with quizzes, once you get to the end of the lesson, I can tell I'm at the end because I'm here. I'm not going to click the green arrow because that takes me on to the next lesson. I'm going to click next so I can begin my quiz, right? And remember, once you take the quiz, it grades it automatically and you can see your score. If you did notice, it says allowed attempts. Attempts means tries. That means you can try this up to 3 times to get your score better. But I would recommend, if you don't do very well, check in with your teacher and what they would like you to do. Okay, so I'm going to go back home. Ooh, I should have gone to modules. There we go. And that was that for ELA. So then we go on to reading and you've got your reading log. It does not have to be on this fancy paper. The important thing is that you're reading every day and you're documenting and letting your teacher know that. So if you're handwriting it on a piece of paper, that's fantastic. Same thing with your PE log. You're going to make sure that even though if you're using this fancy copy or you're just handwriting it, you're getting 30 minutes of activity every single day. Now you'll notice right now art says nothing and music is even on there. Those haven't been uploaded yet, but make sure that you're uploading your PE to your PE folder, your art to your art assignments, and your music to your music assignments. And if you have any questions about how to do that, ask your fabulous teachers or Miss Harris or Miss Greco. Have an awesome week 3, second graders, and I hope this helped you know what you're going to be doing for week 3. Have an awesome week. So let's check out social studies. So for social studies, you're going to be learning about immigration, which is awesome because you guys have already learned a lot about that with your Ellis Island simulation that you did. So you're going to be reading about pushes and pulling with immigration, which I know sounds really strange, but you're going to be learning about what pushed people out of other countries and pulled them over to America. And you're going to be keeping that in mind because that has a lot to do with what you're going to be doing for your assignment. So as you're reading, there are these worksheets again here with push and pull factors. It's like a graphic organizer. Again, this is not part of your assignment, so you don't need to print this out. If you wanted to take notes and just fold a piece of paper in half and write the push factor on one side and the pull factor on the other, you could. But this would be a good note-taking sheet to help you with the assignment that you're going to be doing. So, like I said, you don't need to print it, but it is good information to help you with your assignment. And then remember, if this isn't working, you're going to reload the page. I'm going to keep going though. You're going to do that activity. You're going to read more about pushing and pulling and then doing this activity. And push the green arrow. And then you're going to read about Lee Chu. And keep going. Have your lesson summary. And this is a good review of what pushed each of those groups of immigrants out of the country and pulled them into America. Then here's your assignment with immigration waves. So if you click on this, this is your worksheet that you have to submit. And like I said, that note-taking sheet that you were using would help you to be able to fill in these blanks. It's not necessary that you print this out if you don't have that ability. You could always type this into the text box. You could read this to your teacher and let them know what goes in the blank here. You could take a picture of it or do a PDF of it. But also too, make sure you check this rubric so you know what your teacher is looking for in order to get a good score. So I'm going to head back to my modules and check out the rest of the specials pages. So we already talked about reading, we talked about PE. For art, the only trick I'm going to talk to you about is, and actually for music too, is to read through the entire assignment first. So you're going to be doing ancient Egyptian profile portraits. So before you even read all of this, I would skip to the end so you know what your project is. That way you can be thinking about that while you're reading and while you're watching your video. So you are going to be drawing, it says you don't have to color, an Egyptian profile. Okay, so make sure for art and for music that you skip all the way to the end, see what your assignment is, and then go back so you can be thinking about that. Same thing for music. When you're doing tempo, this is super important this week because you're going to be doing a Nearpod and learning about tempo. So you'll be going through the session by putting your name in there and joining the session. And then you're going to be learning about tempo and you're going to be listening to 3 pieces of music. And that explains it here. So this part too is super important to read before you do that Nearpod because you need to respond to all 4 of these questions and be thinking about these questions while you're doing that Nearpod because you're going to be doing this on the discussion board. Then you're also going to be replying to another person in one of their statements. So the discussion board actually is just right here. So by pushing the reply. So once you have read these questions, done the Nearpod, then you're going to answer these questions down here by clicking reply in the discussion board. Okay? And then after you've done that, you'll be able to see what other students have submitted and you're going to respond to one of their submissions. All right, so that is all of week 3. If you have any questions, ask your teacher because I'm sure they're going to be happy to help you.